Hi, this is Bob Iacchino along with Mike Arnold from Path Trading Partners. It is June 22nd, and this is a PM Path Chat covering the futures markets. This morning when we did the AM Path Chat, we were waiting on continuing claims, jobless claims. Continuing claims came out at 241, expected at 240. That's hundreds of thousands, 241,000 versus 240,000. Continuing claims came out at 1.944 million. They were expected at 1.928 million. Canadian retail sales jumped up 0.8%. They were expected to be 0.3%. So that's a pretty good number. Eurozone consumer confidence came in at down 1.3. It was expected at down 3. So down 1.3 is an outperformance. We also were looking for the Mexican peso overnight rate to be raised from 6.75 to 7%, and it was. So that's it in terms of the economic calendar. Now, in terms of news, probably the most important thing that happened in the news is the healthcare bill is now public, the Senate healthcare bill. Senator Rand Paul has already said it's basically Obamacare, so he is not for it. But the 4 Republicans that have already said they're going to vote against it seem to think that their minds can be changed. That's just coming off of things that they said. North Korea tested a rocket engine, so a little bit more of that. The VIX still didn't move. In terms of the markets themselves, we saw crude oil up 0.5%. We saw the S&P down ever so slightly, 0.6%. The NASDAQ up 0.4%, and the Dow 0.6% lower. So virtually no movement, virtually unchanged on everything. Now, when you refer back to the healthcare bill, the strongest sector in terms of performance today was healthcare. It was up 1%, a little over 1%, 105 to be exact. So it seems to me that the market thinks this thing is going to pass, and it thinks it's not a big deal. We still have the NASDAQ up in the aftermarket right now. Second to that was the materials sector, which was up 0.17%, 0.17%, a little over 0.1%. Everything else is basically down. Biggest loser was consumer staples, and financials were down as well, both down over 0.5%. And tech was up 0.5%. So very small movements in everything except healthcare. Healthcare jumped. That's about it in terms of what happened leading into the day. So let me turn it over to Mike to let you know what he's seeing on the charts. Mike, it's all yours.
Thank you, Bob. On our VIX watch today, not much new happening. Closing again, 1048, so still in this 10 range. Spent pretty much most of April and May except for this brief pop out. So, no, not much fear in the marketplace. Let's take a look at the financial futures. All right. What do we have here? We have the Dow mini futures pulling back, third day in a row. Let's just get this so we're zoomed in, holding right at the 8 EMA. So this very key line in the sand, you can see it's just above the prior breakout zone, holding dual lows here, holding this, hugging this 8. If we get below this about 21,340, we could see a pretty quick sell-off to the 21,260 to 21,240, and then you have the rising 21 coming in on 21,223. So that's the area we'll be watching tomorrow if we do sell off. So if we get intraday trades to the short side, those are going to be our target areas. And if we get down there and get reversal trades, we might look to reverse direction. If we rally up, first level of resistance, 21,400. Then we'll be looking for about 21,450. Then a return to the highs, 21,494, which is virtually 21,500. If we were to rally through that, the next big key level up is 21,546. Going over to the S&P E-mini. S&P E-mini. Let's see what this one's doing. Again, we closed at a doji today. A nice doji, open and closed virtually the same. Let's see where the open was 2431.75 and the close was 2431.80. So yeah, it's virtually a doji. Also a line in the sand right around this 2428. That's going to be key support. If we do get down, 24.26 to 24.25 is going to be very key. And if that's broken, we'll be watching for about 24.20 to, and then 24.17 as the next levels lower. For rally up tomorrow, 24.38 to 24.40 is going to be our key resistance level. If we get through there, we'll be watching for a first major area of 24.43.50, then the 24.47.50 area, and then a return to the highs will be our targets to the upside. Over to the NASDAQ. Also slightly down for the day, but pretty narrow range day for the NASDAQ, especially the open to close range. So it reached up, it didn't get quite to our GAN level 58.18 that we were watching for. The high was 58.14.50. So on a rally up today, tomorrow 58.14.50 to 58.18.25 is going to be the first key area of resistance. If we get through there, 58.37.50, then we'll be watching for the 58.46 to 58.52, and if we do get through there on a very strong rally, 58.62. If we pull back, pretty major support coming in around this 57.68 level to 57.65, rising 8 and a key gain level there. That's going to be critical. If we get through there, we have first cross rotation zone, so we're going to watch for 57.57 right in there. Then if we drop below that, next level's down 57.39, 57.29, then we have a rising trend line coming in. Switching over to crude oil. Crude actually was able to close up for the day today. So if we rally again tomorrow, our resistance targets are going to be 43.13, or targets for any long trades, followed by about 43.41. Then if we do get through there, we're going to be watching for, on a really strong rally, trend line declining 8 and round number coming in at 44. Those are our targets to the upside tomorrow. If we pull back, first target level lower or support 42.24, then we'll be watching for 42.02 to 42. And if that is broken, we're going to be targeting things in the 41s, right around 41.75 first target, then 41.47 as the next target. Switching over to gold. Gold did rally today. Pretty much opened on our significant level of 1246.70, then rallied up, rallied into the rotation zone, nearly to our next GAN level, and areas we've talked about, this 1256 area to 1257, pulling back, closing right out on the prior breakout or breakdown zone. So if we do rally again tomorrow, we'll be watching for this 1256 to 1257 area, and if we get through there, the 1259. And if we were to get through there, be keying off about the 1262 level as targets or for potential reversal trades. If we head lower, major support, this 1246 to 1247 area is going to be major. Then we'll be watching for the 1244 rising trend line and this little area here, key open and closes. Then if we get through that, 1241, where we have the 200 coming in. And on a bigger drop, we'd be watching for about the 1237. Finally, switching over to silver to wrap this up on this Thursday evening. Futures update. Nice rally straight to the 8 EMA, 1664, which we've talked about, then falling back down. So rally again tomorrow. Watch for about the 1662 to 1664 area. If that's broken, 1670, and then on a really strong rally, 1679 to 80. If we pull back, first area of support we'll be watching is 1646. Then we'll be watching down to about 1641. Then the 1637, and if all that's broken, we'll be looking for 1631. So that's our major levels we're going to be watching for tomorrow. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Bob.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you guys for watching. Cheers, everyone. Hit like and subscribe, even if you don't like it. How about that? Cheers, guys. See you in the next Pat Chat.